Hi, I'm Pox.
I'm Couchguy.
You're watching the Two Smart Guys show from Las Vegas.
And not Las Vegas.
We're down at the CES 2014, the Consumer Electronics Show. And I just got here today after driving like in the snow for a day and a half. And I immediately ran in and got my registration and went through a couple of the halls and got some footage of a few different things to show everybody. It's interesting. One of the big things that was everywhere, or at least the part of the hall that they'd never had before, was 3D printers. There were like, I don't know, maybe 20 booths of different 3D printers. Really? Yeah. And everyone...
That was like, 3 years ago? Really first mass-produced debuted?
Yeah, like I think 3 years ago MakerBot was there, and it was like it was a kit that you had to buy yourself and build.
And they can make another bot.
Yeah. And then the next year they actually had like a pre-made one, and then last year they finally had like a professional looking one, and there was a couple others. There was like 2 or 3 other ones out there. And then this year, like everybody was there from Kickstarter. Like everybody and their brother made a 3D printer this year on Kickstarter. And they're pretty impressive. It was funny, each booth would have like 20 of them or 50 of them there printing out all kinds of things at once. And then some of the poor little booths that weren't doing so good, they had some like 3D printers that weren't doing so good, and they were printing out like poorly and like deformed, falling apart things because people kept bumping their table. So it was
sad.
Kind of sad. But yeah, there was a really big one. I'll have it here in the video. That was only $500. Like it could print out like big size stuff, and it was only going to be $500. And it looked really professional. Like there's still a lot of little ones that look kind of like they're just, I don't know, kind of put together in a garage.
Yeah.
And this
they are.
Yeah, this year I guess the big boys came in and they decided that people really want 3D printers.
Well, it's an interesting concept, and for people to be able to print something, it's kind of like how, you had your own. Like my wife has a vinyl cutter and things like that. Those are almost impossible to get until about 6-7 years ago, and then people started making them with scrapbooking because they saw a need to do something besides die cast, punch outs. So I can only imagine, 3D printers being cool. Wearable seems to be the new trend right now, CES, as far as devices. How many wearable things did you run across?
See, the hall that I was in, they had a bunch of fitness stuff. So they had a whole bunch of like heart monitors and different wrists and anklets and blah blah blah. Sony had one, LG had one. Everybody seemed to have something that would monitor your activity or something that would link up with your phone. I think there's a whole nother hall that's dedicated to like iPhones and cell phones and things, and it's going to have even more. And I haven't even got to that hall yet, so I haven't touched on that. But what I did touch on was the wireless power for like charging everything.
Oh, cool.
The consortium is there. They're really pushing everybody to set one standard. So they're going to put it in a lot of cars, so you can just like set your phone on the dash and it'll charge.
Well, that'll be nice. That means that you don't have to worry about. You could buy one charger, and it's going to be hopefully charging multiple devices instead of being one charger for this device, one charger for that device.
They were showing off that something kind of cool. Their table had it built into the table, and then they had little tiny adapters that would plug into your phone. So you could just go in there, plug your phone in, and it would start charging.
Huh.
And you can move it all around the table, and it would still charge. So that was kind of cool. 4K TVs everywhere, like everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, they have. I think the largest one produced right now there.
Yeah, they've got. I think it's 108-inch 4K.
If anyone gets the time to watch the viral video that's happening now because of Michael Bay.
Oh yeah.
I think it's worth your time.
My car turned off my lights. I'm in the dark.
Oh no. No one can see you.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. He's like, the teleprompter doesn't work. I'll wing it. Never mind. And then he leaves.
I'm going home.
Forget this. And the other big thing is bent TVs. What's the deal with curves?
That's the presentation he dumped out of.
What do you think about that?
The Samsung bent. I don't think you're big enough to justify a bent TV. Bent was something that happened in terms of cinematically really, really wide. Like, it was a huge format. And it was like shot from like, I think 3 different projectors. And the reason why it was bent, because it was considered an immersion style viewing.
Oh, because it was supposed to wrap around you.
Yeah, well, and it didn't wrap around, but it did kind of like, it did kind of simple wrap. Like, it kind of went from one wall. It was cool.
I went to a movie once. I think it was Death Race, and it was shown on a bent movie screen.
Yeah, and they were designed for really, really wide screens, or really, really big screens, so they can, if I'm correct. I mean, like that's my knowledge of how bent screens worked, and a lot of them were like three projectors, with a really, really wide formats. I think it's another gimmick. Yeah, so I'm gonna pull gimmick on this one.
I asked one of the demo girls or whatever. I was like, just wondering, why do you want your TV to be bent? And she's like, yeah. Because it's more immersive, and it kind of focuses it more on you, and
a single viewer. And you have to be really freaking close. Now, I will admit someplace I want a bent screen. If I'm working on a computer and they can give me a screen that I'm talking about is freaking enormous, that's bent and curved around me, in front of my desk, like that, abso-freaking-lutely. I'll take a 6-foot bent screen any day of the week.
It's kind of cool. They had bent ones and unbent ones, and they had ones that would bend on command. You could tell it bend, and it would bend.
That's what I want. I want a screen that's going to be flexy just for me, like a yoga screen.
And the other thing they kind of gave up on this year, they're always like, "Oh, it's thinner. This year it's thinner. This year it's thinner." This year Sony's like, "No, screw it. It's big. It's like a big cheese wedge, so it doesn't fall over. So instead of having like a big platform to sit on the bottom, it's just like a big, shaped like an A."
Huh.
And they say that they don't show it, but they just have one cable coming out of it. Well, 2, power and something else. So like it looks nice. You don't have a bunch of cables hanging out of your TV.
Like behind mine.
Yeah.
I have to fix mine right now. I have everything. I have this lovely HDMI through IP or through Ethernet connector I got to put up and run it across the room, but I haven't done it yet.
Which is kind of funny because that's what your receivers have always done. Like at my house, that's how I have it. There's one HDMI that goes to the TV and into a receiver, and then everything goes into the receiver. And I remember the very first plasmas that came out, the brains weren't even in them. It was just a cable coming out of it going into a box. So there's going backwards.
I had a friend tell me, he goes, how much nicer would it be? Or cheaper would it be is if you bought the box and the monitor separately. Always.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
So that way your box, for the most part, just needed a firmware upgrade here and there for new codecs. But you don't need to have, you could put it on any size of TV. And that way, if you upgrade the TV could go down by maybe 30% in price if it didn't have to have all the crap in it. You just connected a cable to it and you were done.
Yeah. That just, it makes sense.
No more remote controls, no more changes in that. It would just be, and if you got an upgrade in a box, you didn't have to upgrade the TV.
I don't know.
It made sense at the same time. I'm like, I kind of like my stuff in the TV.
Samsung and LG, they're showing off bent TVs. Sony didn't. I can't remember if they did, they didn't make a big deal out of it. They might have had 1 or 2 hanging around, but they didn't have them everywhere.
But I think Sony's pushing 4K.
Yeah, they were pushing 4K really hard. And the fact that their new technology for a higher dynamic range that's visible and higher color range, I guess. There's some kind of technology that's supposed to be more color, more.
Well, the other thing you're going to want to look up is Sony announced a 4K camera. I think for under $1,000 or $2,000.
It's $2,000, and it's a consumer camera. It's the consumer version of the 4K prosumer one. That's $4,000.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even realize they'd come out with that. I couldn't remember if they did, but it's basically the XL or the EX1 that I have, but the 4K version of it. And it's only like, I think they said 45, it's 4,500.
Yeah.
It's a 1-inch chip, I think, is what they were saying. It's like a 1-inch chip, but it's a single chip.
I thought it was
4K or something.
okay. So the one that I saw was like 3/4-inch CMOS chips. So.
You know, the guy I talked to didn't sound like he knew what he was talking about. So I don't know.
Yeah, I would check because a 1-inch chip is technically in that range of a Super 35 sensor.
Yeah,
It's pretty close.
I doubt it is. Then it's got to be smaller than that.
Because you have to remember that for a very, very long time, a high-end camera had a 3/4-inch chip or
Right.
2/3 inch chip.
Well,
2/3. Sorry, 2/3.
The EX1's got 3 half-inch chips.
1/3.
Or no, 1/3.
I can't remember if it's 1/3 or half-inch, but
I thought they were half-inch, and they made a big deal about it.
Okay, so I know that the XDCam 350 series has half-inch sensors, but I don't know if the other one did. Maybe they had 3 sensors and the other one had 1 sensor.
I can't remember.
It's possible. Half-inch sensors were the new craze for a long time when that series came out.
All I know is they didn't have a Super 35, or I mean, they didn't have a film or they didn't have a cinema camera there that had built-in 4K. They had the cinema camera with the huge-ass back-end thing add-on to make it 4K.
Oh, okay.
That like doubled the size of it.
The FS700?
Yeah, they had the FS700 sitting there, which it literally like doubles the size of it.
Oh, it's huge. It's a monster. And then if you put like I can't remember what the lens is on the front of it.
Yeah.
The thing looks like a train. It's nasty. But it is what it is. It's, it's a 4K camera off a slow-mo camera and on this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
Yeah, add the battery pack on the back of it too and try and pack that thing around.
And then Canon had this weird little thing. Everybody's trying to do their own version of a GoPro. And they said they came out with it last year, and this is an update to it, but it's like a weird little, it's almost like a Z1U with a camera on it, with an HD camera on it.
Really?
And they're showing, they're saying they made it for people to do YouTube videos of their bands and things. But they upgraded it to have like a really high quality mic so you can like do recording, and then I guess the video is supposed to be...
It's funny that Canon cares about the audio now.
Yeah, it's weird. The video, I guess, they're trying to use it like for crash cams, or just like you can put it at the back of a concert or whatever and use it as your B camera for whatever, and it'll also get your audio. But it's like $400 or $500. It's kind of expensive.
See, you know what? Here's what I would like to see, and this is because I am in a different field now than I was.
Yeah.
But I have a little perspective now, and I think you would appreciate this too. To have cameras with a built-in point-to-point system to a switcher or to a computer receiver bay, so that if you wanted to do a 3-camera shoot on the low-tech, you could have 3 cameras wirelessly connected, audio and video, to a central hub, and then that hub is just a bunch of outputs, and you plug that into whatever system you want. So that way all the hubs come back. It can work independently, or in a concert situation, you could have people roaming around wirelessly while switching the event.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
It doesn't need more than like 100 feet or 300 feet distance, point-to-point system.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to have, and I know it's possible. It's expensive, but it's possible. I don't know. Teradek makes a system for it that's $2,000 a piece.
Yeah, I was gonna say Teradek does it, and like with this Wirecast, you can do the IP inputs, so you could do it.
See,
I
don't want it to be IP. I want it to be a point-to-point back to a hub somehow, and then I can plug that hub into either via HDMI or SDI or however they hook it up to my switcher, and that way I don't have to worry about whose switcher I'm using. Or if I just want to have all my streaming feeds into something else, into TVs, into whatever, I think it'd be, because you think about that, there's all kinds of uses for that.
Yeah.
Now we need to get away from the wire, 100%.
Oh, that was another thing they showed, or I went by, is a little booth charging an electric car wirelessly. It's a mat, but it's kind of
Yeah,
funny to
I've
have
heard
it like
about those.
tilted up. And there's a company that sells the modifications for the Volt and the Leaf, so you can do that. You can put them in
Yeah,
your garage. They're $3,500.
that's not bad.
It's
It's
not.
not good.
Well, no, it's expensive, but
If if it could work for 10 years, and you could put it on there and just consistently keep, if it worked on multiple cars,
oh,
so
that'd be
that
cool.
if the charging system was car independent, so that way it didn't matter if you bought a Volt and then bought a Leaf. If you had an electric car and you drove over it, it would charge it.
Yeah.
Induction charging.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I have to talk to him more tomorrow. I'm gonna try and do interviews tomorrow, but today I was just trying to run as fast as I could because I got here. I only had like 3 hours to run around.
Yeah.
It's interesting though. Not everybody's on the same page this year. Some people are kind of putting their money in different places. I guess they've, in terms of TVs anyways, they're like, well, we don't know what to do anymore. I mean, we know they want 4K, but we don't know if they want 3D. Oh, that was the other thing.
3D's gone.
No, actually, everybody's trying to do 3D without glasses.
Still?
And it's sickening, which is kind of sad.
That, to me, okay, that may be the motive behind the curve.
They didn't have 3D.
Honestly.
They didn't have, but all the glassless 3Ds were not curved.
I don't think you can curve it, but I think that they would kind of make it kind of cool if you could.
Well,
because you could focus it to a certain point if you are curved.
Well, because they have 4K now, so it's 4K glasses free 3D. They're just doing the whole like the 3DS does, where like every other line of resolution is a different angle. So
everywhere you look, it's possible.
Yeah, so it works and it looks pretty sharp, but it's still a little bit like if you move your head sideways or whatever, it gets a little wobbly and it'd make you sick. And
yeah, but it also has to be, everything you watch now has to be 3D.
No, because you can turn it off.
Okay. I thought it was like you were angled actually inside the glass of the pixel, direction.
I think you could pick, like the 3DS, you can tell it to be 2D. So
okay.
Every other line is for each eye, right? So you can just tell it to be.
Oh, just correct itself so it doesn't do.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
I got to try an Oculus Rift, which was kind of cool. Do you know what that is?
What is that?
So it was a Kickstarter project. That was the thing that surprised me this year. All the Kickstarter projects were there, which was kind of neat. But it's a virtual reality glasses system, and from what I've been hearing on podcasts and things, that it was supposed to work really well. Like the ones that were in the 90s were really delayed, so they didn't work very well. It made people sick. It still I still feel sick from it.
Really?
It may have been because I didn't have I have glasses and I didn't have my contacts in, and I had to take off my glasses to use it. But the frame rate was low, and it was a little blurry, and it was a little blocky. And yeah, I still feel sick. I don't know. I was disappointed.
Well,
I thought it was going to be.
I'll tell you what I know what I want you to steal from me when you're there.
What's that?
Find me a pair of Google glasses.
Oh, that's the other thing.
They are flopping hard.
Flopping?
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I hear. Not the technology. The user reaction to it has been going down and down and down, and not because of lack of enjoyment from the user, but for the reaction of other people.
Oh yeah. Everybody here is wearing them.
So people hate interacting with someone with the Google glasses. So they're saying, Google, you got to fix it. It's got to not look like I'm a freaking Borg when I walk up to you.
It does look like that. I ran into a bunch of people that are wearing them over at the Dish booth. They're showing off some really cool stuff for the Hopper. A guy had Google Glass, and he had an app that would monitor his sports and would send him the statistics in his glass. So he could be, like going around the house or whatever, and it would show him the scores and things, which was kind of neat.
Wow.
And then they had home automation, which is very interesting. They had like wireless cameras for your house. I have video of this. He hits the doorbell. So somebody hits the doorbell, pops up on your TV screen and shows you who's at the door. It has it so that You go
That's
to,
not 100% new.
but it's in a really common product that you can just buy,
Yeah.
and you can go to a movie and it'll dim the lights, so it knows when you're watching a movie or a TV show. So when you go to an actual movie, it'll dim. You can have it dim the lights in your house.
Interesting.
And that's coming out at the end of this year. So
Yeah, find me a pair of Google Glasses. I'd like to have a
if
pair
I
of
see
those.
one laying around, I'll pick one up.
There you go. I wouldn't know the first thing to do. I'm pretty sure they're like biometrically tuned to someone else.
You have to have right. Well, they're invite now, so if you know somebody who has a pair, you can get a pair, but they're still $1,500. And all they can do is take pictures and video and like display a few things and apps.
I've heard they do translate pretty well.
Oh, really? Yeah. I don't know. I was really like trying to figure out a way to get one at one point, but then I realized
$1,500.
I'd have to switch to Google for one, or to Android. And it's really, from what I hear, the most is people winking. It takes pictures. Most people use it to take pictures of things real easy. Yeah. Other than that, it doesn't really have a whole lot of purpose. I don't know. Maybe there'll be some really cool killer apps, but
yeah. Well, I think they're kind of interesting. I'm interested in them. I mean, I want to see if you could find out what they're doing with Chromecast too. By the way,
I'll look around and see.
You could drop one of those off at my house on the way back too.
Steam was everywhere though. The Steam boxes. Everybody's building Steam boxes. So
I am unfamiliar with such box.
So are you familiar with like Half-Life and Portal and Valve? They have the Steam system. So it's like the iTunes store for video games on.
Oh, okay.
PC, Mac, Linux. So they made a operating system called Steam OS, so you can basically make a home theater PC and just do your gaming that way.
Okay. Yeah, I had heard about the streaming gaming, but I hadn't heard what the name of the system was called.
It doesn't stream. It's just called Steam. But
have you heard? You probably will see this. There's a couple of companies who want to do the Netflix of gaming. They want to feed it to you, and Sony was a big one involved in the development of it. I don't know what they did with it.
They did. They were showing that off. I think they're calling it PlayStation Now, but it's a service, so you can basically stream all the old PlayStation games to the Vita, the PS.
But you don't get to download the program.
3.
No, you don't get to download it.
No, you don't download it. It just streams the old games from Sony's servers. Yeah. So you're not actually... You don't have it. You're just streaming it.
Well, they're talking about doing that for like high-end games, like HD, like the God of War.
Yeah, they were showing it. They showed a demo of it, of God of War. The guy was playing it on the Vita, and they were showing it off on the PS4 too. It was mirroring with Vita, but they were streaming it from the service.
Okay, so so it is kind of. I wasn't sure how soon it was really going to deploy it because I'd heard rumors of one of the games they used was God of War because it was considered a higher end game, so they used that. Yeah,
they showed it on a big 65-inch screen. It looked good. I was surprised.
I think that that'll probably be the next system. I really don't think that with the success of Netflix that you're going to see and the success of gaming systems that you'll see anyone not try and do that, because there's so much money. If you could pay $8 a month and have a library of games to play and a memory card system inside your own console, remember where you were at? Yeah, you're done.
There's been a lot of... Oh, yeah, they were going to have it built into the TVs, too, on the Sonys, so you didn't even need a system.
See a controller.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and you may not need a system on this stuff. You may save all your game saves on your profile, just like it saves your place on Netflix.
Oh, that was the other thing. The Steam Box, I got to try their controller out. It's got a funky controller. Everybody made a big deal out of it. It has 2 circle pads instead of joysticks.
Really?
And they click. So you just kind of...
I like clicking.
You hover your fingers around over them. Well, you can feel it, and then you can also click. So it works as both the analog and the digital pads.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of neat.
Oh boy, Dish is really pushing the hopper.
The hopper's cool. Anyways, man, we're running like 25 minutes.
We're running too long. Hey, CES is awesome. If you keep track of it next week, guess what? He's probably going to have things throughout the week. Pox is down there. Pox is, taking video and taking swag.
Yeah.
So
follow me on Twitter at Walking Crow, and I'll be posting here and there.
You better start tweeting during the day than while you're there.
I will.
Even nothing else, do pictures. Do you do Instagram still?
I have it somewhere.
You should maybe consider the Instagram.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Okay.
All right. Not that I'm going to post anything about CES, but you can follow me at Tommy5C.
All right. Please subscribe to the show. We'll see you guys soon.
Come out and play!
Like when they do music videos and there's a beat and it kind of goes blurry, like with the bass.
What is that?
Okay, where is this saying?
I've never seen Dick Clark during the...
If you don't understand how it's a huge deal, start watching all the videos.
Another game save exploit.
The cool thing about this one is it works with all PSPs across the board.
For the tater tot.
I know I could get at least 5,000 down the street.
Looks stronger to me.
Yes, it's a lie.
I'm Yago.
I'm Couchguy.
Hi, I'm Pox.
And I'm Wearable.
Pretty cool stuff, huh?
What?
And where can you find that?
You better go wait outside. We don't want any trouble.